For over 1,000 years, the great scholars of Tibb and Nabawi pointed to a handful of Sunnah foods as the most direct nourishment for the human mind. Allah named some of them in His book. The Prophet, peace be upon him, kept them at his own table. And modern brain research is now confirming what our tradition has known all along. Stay with me, and at number 1, I will reveal the most important one of all. Bismillah. Let us begin. A quick word before we begin. We have gathered the daily practices of the Beloved, peace be upon him, how his household ate, drank, slept, and healed, into one book, the Sunnah Home Manual. 40 practices, every hadith verified, every source shown. To get your copy, visit sunnahgardens.com. Or pause this video right now, open the camera on your phone, point it at the code on your screen, and tap the link that appears. You will also find the link in the description right below this video. I will not mention it again. If you want it, it is there. Now, let's begin. We begin with one of the oldest foods of the Sahaba, akit, the hard-aged cheese the early Muslims ate by the handful. Akit was a documented food of the Sahaba during the Khaybar campaign, recorded in Sahih Bukhari's Kitab al-Maghazi. Jami at-Tirmidhi, in Hadith 1812, narrates that the Prophet, peace be upon him, ate cheese with bread at his own table. Modern research now points to vitamin K2, the menaquinone concentrated in aged cheese. A 2004 Rotterdam study found that adults eating the most K2-rich foods had 50% less arterial calcification over 10 years, and the brain benefits from clean arteries first. A slice of halal-aged cheese, made with halal rennet the way the Sahaba ate it. Naranj, the bitter orange, was treasured in the Tibb tradition for calming the mind and lifting the mood. The peel and the leaves were prized as much as the fruit. A 2019 paper in Neurochem Research showed that hesperidin, the flavonoid concentrated in the bitter orange peel, protects brain cells from inflammation across the blood-brain barrier. A spoonful of bitter orange marmalade, the zest grated into a tea, the dried peel steeped in warm water. Sabanik, spinach, was placed by Ibn al-Bayṭār among the cooling greens that nourish the blood and the mind. In 2015, the journal Alzheimer's and Dementia published a study from Rush University. Adults who ate leafy greens like spinach daily had a brain function 11 years younger than those who did not. 11 years. The folate, the lutein, the vitamin K all working together to slow the slow erosion of cognition. A small bowl with eggs in the morning, a side dish with rice at dinner. Humus, chickpeas, were a staple of the early Muslim diet across the Arabian Peninsula, Iraq, and the Levant. The Tibb tradition listed them among the warming, strengthening foods that sustained both body and mind. A 2017 review in Frontiers in Neuroscience pointed to the high tryptophan content of legumes like chickpeas, the amino acid the brain converts directly into serotonin, the calming, focused mood neurotransmitter. A bowl of chickpeas with olive oil, a plate of hummus with warm bread, a handful roasted as a snack. Turmus, the lupine bean, known to every Egyptian and Levantine Muslim, was prescribed by Ibn al-Qayyim in Zad al-Ma'ad as a cleanser of the mind. He used those exact words. Modern research has begun to unpack why. The lupinine alkaloids in the bean have been studied for gentle neuromodulatory effects, and the high arginine content boosts the nitric oxide that opens the blood vessels feeding the brain. A small bowl of soaked lupine beans, sprinkled with salt and lemon. Oud al-Hindi, Indian aloes wood, is named directly in Sahih Bukhari Hadith 5692, where the Prophet, peace be upon him, said it contains 7 cures. The Tibb tradition extended this further. Ibn Sina catalogued ingested oud as a warmer of the brain's inner temperament. A 2008 paper in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology found that agarwood essential oil, the modern term for oud, produced both anxiety-reducing and cognitive-enhancing effects in clinical models. A few drops on the wrist before reading, or oud chips burned in the home. Herf, watercress, was placed by Ibn Sina among the foods that nourish both the brain and the heart through circulation. Today, the United States National Institutes of Health ranks watercress as the single most nutrient-dense food on Earth, a perfect 1,000 out of 1,000 on the Nutrient Density Index. The high dietary nitrate in watercress converts in the body to nitric oxide, the molecule that opens the blood vessels carrying oxygen to the brain. A small handful in a salad, a sprig in a sandwich, a bunch chopped into soup. Taraf's wild celery was listed by both Ibn Sina and Ibn al-Bayṭār among the foods that bring clarity to the mind. A 2014 study in the Journal of Neurochemistry showed that apigenin, the flavonoid concentrated in celery, actively promotes the growth of new neurons in the hippocampus, the brain's memory center. New neurons from a vegetable in adulthood. A stick with hummus, a chopped handful in soup, the leaves added fresh to a salad. Ful, the fava bean, was the breakfast of the Sahaba in Egypt and the Levant, and it still is today. Ibn Sina catalogued ful in his canon, with a careful note about a condition he called favism, which we now know as G6PD deficiency. I want to mention that openly. For those who do not carry G6PD deficiency, the bean carries something extraordinary. Fava beans naturally contain L-dopa, the direct precursor the brain converts into dopamine. A 1971 paper in The Lancet used fava extract in early Parkinson's research. A simple bowl of ful medems with bread for breakfast. The Sahaba ate brain meat from the animals they slaughtered, and every part of a halal slaughtered animal is permitted. Many of our grandparents ate sheep brain weekly. The Tibb tradition followed an old principle the ancients called like cures like. The food that resembles the organ nourishes that organ. Modern science now agrees, for a specific reason. Sheep brain is one of the most concentrated natural sources of DHA, the omega-3 fatty acid that makes up the myelin sheath wrapping every neuron in your head. Cooked plain, served on bread the way it was served 100 years ago. Bunduk hazelnuts were named in the Tibb canon as warming and strengthening foods for the brain. In 2018, the same New England Journal of Medicine predimed trial that put walnuts on the modern brain map also pointed to hazelnut. Adults over 60 who ate a handful of mixed nuts, including hazelnuts, every day, showed a meaningfully slower rate of cognitive decline than the control group. The vitamin E concentrated in hazelnuts protects brain cell membranes from oxidation. A small handful raw in the morning or with afternoon tea. Let me be honest with you about this one. The classical Tibb scholars wrote about a substance they called asal al-mulk, the king's honey. Some scholars believed they meant royal jelly, the substance worker bees feed to the queen, while others believed they meant aged honey. The tradition is mixed on this point. What is not mixed is the modern science. A 2018 review in the British Medical Journal showed that the major royal jelly protein MRJP3 upregulates BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, the master molecule that drives new neural connections throughout adulthood. Iklil al-Jabal, rosemary, was named by Ibn al-Bayṭār the herb of remembrance, Those exact words. The Tibb tradition trusted rosemary for the mind in a way few other herbs were trusted. In 2003, the International Journal of Neuroscience published a study by Moss and Oliver. Adults asked to perform memory tasks while exposed to the scent of rosemary essential oil scored roughly 75% better than those in the control room. Just from the scent, a sprig in your tea, dried leaves in your kitchen, a few drops of the essential oil on your wrists before reading. Carved liver holds a special place in Islamic law. Ibn Majah narrates in Hadith 3314 that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said 2 kinds of blood have been made lawful for us, the liver and the spleen. Goat liver in particular is the single richest natural source of choline on earth, along with vitamin B12 and CoQ10. Choline is the precursor your brain uses to produce acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter your memory depends on. A small portion of halal slaughtered goat liver, grilled with onions, the way every Muslim grandmother in the Levant has served it for centuries. And now, at number 1, the everyday Sunnah food the Prophet, peace be upon him, kept in his household. The food classical Tibb scholars called the strongest food for the mind, and the food modern brain research has confirmed above all others. Eggs are among the documented foods of the prophetic household, referenced in the Sahih Hadith collections under Kitab al-Bayṭār, the Book of Food. Ibn Sina, in his canon, catalogued eggs as foundational for strengthening the brain. al-Qayyim, in Zād al-Ma'ad, treated the yolk in particular as a tonic for the mind. And here is what modern research has now confirmed. Eggs are the single richest practical source of choline in the human diet. The Framingham Heart Study linked dietary choline directly to better memory and cognitive function in older adults. A 2018 review in the New England Journal of Medicine called Choline the Missing Nutrient of Modern Diets. Boston University researchers confirmed in 2020 that older adults eating eggs daily scored measurably higher on memory tests than those who did not. The Sunnah named it. The Tibb scholars catalogued it. The science is now catching up. 2 eggs in the morning, the way the Prophet, peace be upon him, kept them on his own table. That was our countdown of the 15 Sunnah foods that sharpen your memory. May Allah grant you and your family complete shifa. If this list reminded you of something your grandmother used to make, share it in the comments. And in our next video, we will be opening the Sunnah foods that bring barakah into your home. Bismillah until then.